Mike's going hot in 3, 2.
Creativity Wasted is a podcast where 3 or 4 comedians or creative people each share a creative idea, such as a movie idea, app idea, or futuristic tech idea. The idea can be funny or serious, well thought out or improvised, realistic or ridiculous, but we'll always have fun talking and joking about it. I'm comedian Avery Summerfeld.
And I'm comedian Bruce Pike.
I'm your host, Tom Walma. This is Creativity Wasted. Okay, go ahead, Bruce.
All right. Hey, well, thanks, guys, for having me on. I was trying to think of something creative, and this story flashed back in my mind. I had this idea. I was in the 4th grade, right?
Oh,
and
we're talking a few years ago.
What's that?
I said we're talking a few years back.
In the what?
yeah, a few years back. I was in the 4th grade, and in the 4th grade, everyone had to come up with their own invention, right? It was part of like the science program. So I'm sitting there pondering, what can I invent that can solve a problem? And I have always had trouble waking up in the morning, hence being a comedian, right? And I came up with this idea that with the alarm clock, I would make an alarm clock that would have these wires that come off of it and attach to the bottom of your bed, similar to the things like that they stick on the side of your temples when they're, scanning your brain.
Why not just have your mother throw like hot water on your face like they did in the old days?
Well, see, yeah, she did that, but then we couldn't afford the hot water anymore, so I had to come up with a new plan, right?
Too many blisters on the face.
yeah, exactly. CPS got involved. It was weird. But so I come up with this idea. I do my report, and I turn it in. Now, the problem with that is you're supposed to make an actual, what's it called? Like not a protocol, but a prototype. You're actually supposed to bring something in that you physically invented or made.
So wait, let me get this straight. You had like electrodes like hooked up to your bed. Why didn't you like hook it up to your body or something? So that it would really shock
I just had the idea.
Out of you.
I had drawings.
Oh, okay.
I had just these things mapped out. We'll use this. It was just written down on paper, right?
I think it would be better if you had it hooked up to the body, though, right? Like hook it up to your stomach or something.
Well, see, yeah, there was something. There was something like that. I think they already had that though. Don't they have that thing for like when you piss the bed too much?
No, I won't do it again.
Hook up and just give you a zap. So as soon as you're getting wet, you can go take care of yourself. Some weird Pavlovian shit there.
Huh.
So anyway, the point is, I come in, I turn my thing in. Because I didn't have an actual physical product, I got a D on my report.
Oh.
So I get a D on my report, which means I come home, which means I'm grounded because I got in trouble, right? I got a poor grade. That's not allowed in this household. And about 2 years ago, I'm flicking through Facebook. They actually came out with that. An alarm clock that you attach to your bed, and it shakes you awake.
Oh, it shakes you.
Shakes you.
But your idea was to electrocute you?
It shakes the bed.
But it doesn't shock you.
It shakes the whole bed.
So your idea would be a shocker, shake and shock. I mean, you could shake and shock you.
The shake and shock?
Yeah, you hook it up to your testicles or something, and it really shocked the hell out of you.
Yeah, how do you think that would affect like coffee sales? Because if you're getting shocked when you wake up, I don't think you need a cup of Joe. You're up and at it, right?
Well, you're certainly not gonna. I mean, would the machine know if you're like falling asleep, so it would give you another jolt? It's like start nodding off, you know.
Like a snooze one, and they could make portable ones for people that are hooked on heroin. So when they're nodding off in public, it just shocks them awake, something like that.
And then if you start to die, it'll either defibrillate you or it'll just keep shocking you and make you die faster.
It's basically just a defibrillator attached to your box spring to jolt you awake.
And it might get rid of bed bugs. Shock to death the bed bugs.
Oh, wouldn't that be gross? Every time it goes off, you just see in like the bottom of your floor just a bunch of bugs that you zapped away.
I don't know. Some people might
Or-
like this thing, though, right? The sadist out there, they might want to be shocked by this thing. It's like, give me some more. Turn it up.
Yeah. Well, see, there would have to be some type of voltage regulation to it, right?
Yeah, you have like a potentiometer on
you
there.
got, yeah, you got to have that. But then, of course, there's going to be the extra geniuses that are going to go inside of it and like, you know, what's that thing where you can like turn off something in like a golf cart so you can go full stream ahead, right? There's no regulator on it.
Yeah.
People start shocking themselves, attaching it to the
Captain,
nipples.
the shocker is going too fast. We're going to kill him.
And if you wet the bed, it'll start on fire, like short circuit.
Yeah, it's short circuit, sure. Yeah, or when if it goes off and it's still not waking you up, whatever food you ate in bed, any crumbs, they'll start cooking in the sheets.
Scotty, this guy's not waking up. We need to turn that shocker up to full power. I don't think it could handle it, Captain.
Turn it up to 11, man.
We need warp factor 3 on the shocker.
Now let's say you're watching a horror movie in your bed. Could the shocker be timed with the scary part of the horror movie?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, that's a really good
Yeah,
idea.
you hook it up so
like,
that
you
could,
yeah, like they would like on the, I don't know, DVD or on Netflix, like there would be some type of signal that would be sent out if you know how you can watch like full screen, widescreen, extended, director's cut, any edition like that, and then you can put in the shock edition, so you can really get the feel of the chainsaw coming through the drywall.
Since you got a D on your report, what you
Got a
should have
D,
done was snuck into the teacher's house and put that device on their bed and shown them that it works.
So, I'm surprised, like, your parents didn't, like, make this thing for you and then strap you into it, like, in a chair or something. He says, you got a D on your report? That'll teach you.
I think if I would have broke into the teacher's house to do it, I wouldn't have gotten a D. I would have been in a detention center. Am I right? Hey, sorry.
You would have gotten destroyed.
But
Destroyed.
in your defense, I bet a lot of the inventions that the other kids came up with were sort of unoriginal. Did you at least have any pride in originality?
The one that I remember was this girl. Her name was Chelsea, and she had trouble scooping her peas off of her plate.
Okay.
And peas and corn. So she built this little, I don't know, like think of like a half pipe that you like skate on, except it's very small and it's attached to a plate made out of tinfoil. So you could scoop your peas up on this thing, and it kind of acted as
so it was like a plate that you
barrier.
could use as an eating device.
Yeah,
That you
exactly.
would- okay, like a
And
shovel.
Chelsea got an A. To say I was resentful is an
I
understatement.
thought that was called like a spork or something. Why not just use?
Well, yeah, it's like, yeah, just use a knife just to press it up. But I don't know. She had a prototype, so I guess she won the game. I was thinking too far ahead, fellas. You know.
So
I was
what's the
outside
name of this invent? What would, if you were to like come up with it? Would you call it the
what
shocker,
would the name
the
be?
zapper? I mean, what would be a good name?
I don't know. I mean, again, I'd have to go with some type of pun, like, oh god, good.
That's okay.
Good morning, good jolting, good shocking.
Shock-a-doodle-doo.
Shock-a-doodle-doo. Yeah.
Shock-a-doodle. I like that
Shock
one. Shock to the morning to you or something.
Shock-a-doodle-doo. Shake and wake.
Shake and
and
zap. What did we
wake, yeah.
say earlier? Shake and zap or something? Shake and shock.
Now, if an earthquake,
Shake and wake.
let's say an earthquake happens at the
Shock it to me.
Shock it to you.
If an earthquake, is it shaking and shocking? Then is that what we decided?
Well, that was the other one that on Facebook was shaking, but his would be shocking, so we could combine it to a shake and shock.
Then if like an earthquake
Shake and shock,
happened and
yeah.
you timed the shaking just right, maybe you wouldn't even feel it. It'd like cancel it out.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well-
So you have this device so that when the earthquake comes, it kind of counter shakes you, right?
Yeah.
Shakes you the opposite way.
Shakes
Well,
you the
see,
opposite way, like cancels
what about the other
out.
thing of like, what about like it starts off like a gentle shaking, right? So it just kind of wiggles you, just kind of like a little shaky, warmy, as you slowly come out of your subconscious, and then the longer it goes, the more it shakes, and then once it reaches its apex of shakeability, that's when you get the shock.
And then you got to have one for the.
That's the
You need one for the travel, a travel shake and shock that you can put in your
yeah.
with your laptop or something.
Now,
yeah, it's USB cord, right?
Right.
You just plug it in.
That you strap it
It's,
to your wrist or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
you could have it if you're
You just
nodding
strap it
off
right
in the
to your
car
cellular.
too. Like you attach it to your cigarette lighter, and then if you're falling asleep, I think they have those.
I don't know.
They have a device that if you fall asleep while you're driving, it wakes you up. I don't know about giving you a shock. I'm not sure if it works that way, but they do have a device.
Now,
Well, that's good. Wow, a lot of us comics should have that as much as we drive during the night.
now back to your bed device. So let's say you're a pregnant woman. And it's
Try to
shaking.
imagine
There would be
this
a
now.
disclaimer.
Think
There'd be a
very
disclaimer.
carefully.
Yeah, or maybe the baby is on the bed. So, and then the bed just starts shaking.
I was a
and
pregnant woman in
shaking.
my last life.
That'd be a whole new form of shaking the baby. When you have a kid,
Shaken
they
baby
have to be
syndrome.
Like, no, you can't shake the baby, and you can't use the shake and wake with an infant on the bed.
Oh, shake and wake. That's a new one. We didn't hear that one. We heard shake and shock. But
No, he said
did we say shake and wake?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, maybe he did, yeah.
I threw that one in there during the volley.
Okay.
Now, if you're pregnant
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
don't want to be pregnant, maybe
There you go.
this
It's an
is a
abortion.
passive
Oh,
way
yeah,
to do
there you
it.
go.
It's like,
There you
it's
go,
like
if you
turn
don't
the,
wanna be
turn the
pregnant,
shake
right?
and
So
wake
then-
on to full speed.
Now
Whoops,
we
10.
got- we got different uses here. It'll replace stairs and hangers.
Ooh. You don't need the abortion pill. Just use the shake and shock.
Yeah, you don't need a plan B. The shake
Oh,
and wake can take care of all your unwanted needs.
Okay.
Maybe that's a path we don't actually put on the box. You know.
You could put a warning
just
on
gotta
the
keep
box.
that one.
Warning: Do
Just
not use if
do-
pregnant.
Yeah, do not use this pregnant with a wink emoji.
A wink emoji.
You can, it'll come up on one of those videos that they put on Facebook of like life hacks, you know, like where they teach you you can I don't know, use vinegar and baking soda to clean a lot of things. Simple life hack. And then also the
Simple
shake
life
and wake.
hacks for abortion. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could get away with that, like the wink
I
emoji.
don't-
Like, my scam medicine cures cancer. Wink emoji. I wonder if you could sell that.
Yeah.
Or this is not
emojis,
rated by the FDA to cure
soon
cancer.
enough,
Wink emoji.
It's going to be a part of our language and our script. It's going to be inevitable. So yeah, we just pop a little wink emoji on the box.
Then
Boom.
you
No
get
one's
to,
the wiser. We don't have any politics going into it. We're not claiming on either side of the fence, but
Use at your own
that's what you
risk.
need to do. You need to do what you got to do.
The shake and shock or the shake and bake or whatever.
Shake and wake.
Shake and wake, right?
Shake and shock.
trying to think of an
I like
abortion term that
shake and wake.
rhymes with shake, but there's nothing.
Shake and shock and die.
Yeah.
dot.
It's got to be.
Shake and shock.
Yeah.
Okay, there
Well,
you
then
go.
Again, yeah. So you got like you got the travel version. Now, here's the other thing. How are we going to keep people, like, we want repeat customers, but if we're making a good product, how are we going to keep them, like, coming back?
You have
know,
the
so essentially,
the
we need, like,
orgasmic
refills.
setting.
What's that?
Only use at the orgasmic setting to your own risk. You have a setting in there, like some sort of to make you feel like super good.
Like those coin-operated beds in the
like the
sleazy
sex
hotel.
setting or something. It's like,
Well, no, I'm saying like we should have part of like something that's very very necessary for the product, like the sticky pads. The sticky pads are going to wear out, so you're going to always have to come and buy another $10
who needs sticky
pack
pads? You're probably just going to give them
sticky
some
pads.
alligator clips.
Alligator clips. Oh wait, I thought that was the nipple clips. If you're trying to get off, right?
I
You
guess
plant
there
those
you
on.
go. One
Boom.
man's
And now
alligator
all of a
clip is
sudden,
another
now
one's
it's
nipple clip.
foreplay. It's foreplay. You're having a good time. You create a baby. The thing that helped create the baby can also take care of that problem. Boom. Look at that. It's the circle of life. Winky emoji.
Maybe you could sell with the bed a little less dark. Not that dark isn't good, but it's gonna shake and it's gonna like knock shit off the walls and stuff. Maybe you could sell like things to keep the bed from like destroying the entire house.
Well, maybe there should be a setting to cook like hot dogs on or something like that. You could fry chicken with it. When you're not using it to shake the bed and wake yourself up, you can fry some chicken. Make yourself a hamburger.
Have a George Foreman attachment that can go to it.
There you go. It's 3 in 1.
Well, start.
And if you order now, we'll send you a free Shake and Shock.
Yes, buy one get 2 free if you order now. However, anytime you order, obviously it's going to come.
Yeah, I hate those ads. They always tell you that it's some special deal when you see those infomercials. They say, if you order now, we'll give you 2 more for the same price. But you go on their website, and it's like that all the time. It's like My Pillow.
Oh, yeah.
They say, right now, if you order, you'll get an extra pillow. But if you go on their website, they always give you an extra pillow.
Exactly.
So you expect it to go on the website and it would have a countdown like 5, 4.
Right.
Oh, I clicked too late. I don't get the pillow.
Yeah, it's gone. Well, remember when they actually had like the actual commercials? Call now, and they would have a clock ticking down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You see that on those.
How it was. And
on
then,
the auctions.
And then when you come back 2 hours later, the clock has restarted. It's like, you got to get in now. And it's like, you guys are BSing.
Those are on those home shopping networks. They do that.
Well, anything else for your Shake and Shock idea? I think we've decided to go with that.
Talking with you guys, I think we really
flushed it
expanded
out.
into a new market here.
Yeah, I want to go to Walmart.
I might need to get some.
I want to go to Walmart and buy one.
And actually get it going.
You should go out and hire someone to market it.
Yeah,
okay.
I think the marketing's the big thing here. We got the idea, and now we're learning how to market it. I like it.
Are you ready for your idea?
Ready. My turn. Well, I was, I've been reading a lot in the news about. Have any of you heard of CRISPR, the gene editing? Well, I was thinking, why not, make that like a cell phone pocket version of the CRISPR, where it hooks up to your cell phone through the USB connector, and it has a little thing that grabs your finger in there, and you stick your finger in there, and it takes blood out of it, and then like 4 hours later, you've got like a tablet, you swallow it. I mean, you could grow a tail or whatever you want. It says, I want to, gene edit yourself a tail or an extra third eye,
So you would trust Apple to edit your genes for you?
I mean, why not? Apple's doing everything else. Hey, I think that's a good idea.
Just think of all the update errors that's going to happen.
Yeah,
all of a sudden you're going to have an A block question mark on your forehead for a nose or something.
You could even you could have like an extra nose or something. Or
you touch a Samsung phone and you burst into hives.
Now, can you reverse this? Like, can this be like?
Oh,
tonight,
absolutely.
I,
I mean,
third eyeball.
yeah, if you want to have a third eyeball today, maybe you're going out on a date, you want to impress your girlfriend.
With
you
a
know?
third
Sure.
eyeball.
With a third eyeball. You say, hey, honey, look at me. I got a third eyeball. Or I got one behind my head. So while,
Oh my God,
while we're
bro,
watching the
he is so
movie, I can
unique.
keep an eye on Junior in the back room, And then when you get
there
tired,
you go.
when you get tired of your third eyeball, you take another pill and bop, you're back to normal.
Yeah, that's fun. I mean, yeah, I don't think anything can go wrong if you just sit around playing with your own genetics.
I mean, they're going to get this stuff down. You'll see. I mean, who would have thought that we'd have like pocket computers in our telephone, right? I mean, 30 years ago, no one would have. I mean, gene editing is the thing, man. I mean, you can have give yourself an extra hand or an extra arm.
I don't know why you would want extra things as opposed to fixing the things you have.
Well, you could do that too. You could fix, let's say you wanted 20/20 vision. They want to make that
or
permanent.
you want your belly button to be an innie instead of an outie. Boom.
There you go. You make it an outie or an innie. Or
Either way.
maybe you want to grow an extra few inches.
Now, let's say this device doesn't work conveniently. The only way to get a better arm or eyeball is to grow another one, and then you have to painfully cut off the old one. Would you do it?
Would I cut it off? No, you take another pill, and by morning, the other eyeball is gone.
But I'm saying, no, it's not that good.
Oh, we had a mistake. Your eyeball is now,
app.
your eyeball is permanent.
How far would you go? Would you, endure the pain of cutting off a limb? Or let's say, instead of growing, so you have an extra eyeball, 3 at one time, let's say you've got to take pliers and cut off your eyeball and then take the pill.
Wouldn't it be reasonable if we can modify ourselves to grow another arm? Couldn't we also turn nerves off for said third arm?
Well, then you're
cut
getting
it off
complicated,
painlessly?
but why not? I suppose so. You could do anything.
I mean, if we're in this realm, I mean, let's.
Well, it's not going to be
Let's make
perfect
it.
right away.
You can turn yourself into a fish.
Maybe it'll just feel like buzzing from the shake and wake. Just a nice little shock for you.
I mean, let's say you had that extra arm, you cut it off. You can cut off that extra arm, you don't like it, and turn it into something to eat.
I just saw the Simpsons
Chop it up, put it
Halloween
in the
episode.
oven, feed it to the kids.
Oh man. You can grow a roast beef leg.
Yeah. Oh, different tasting body parts.
You ever watch a show?
Yeah. Add some flavor to it. Stop world hunger.
There was a show, Kenny versus Spenny. Do you know that show, Bruce?
No, I never heard of it.
But
Oh man.
there was a spin-off of that with the same guy, Kenny, and he wanted to become a cannibal. And so he found 5 body parts that he could legally eat of himself. I think most of them were of himself, like fingernails, and then he shaved off some of his skin with a cheese grater.
Oh
And,
man, that sounds painful.
He figured out 5 things that, a tooth. He ate one
I
of
don't
his
think I've seen
teeth.
that.
Oh, that'd be like a hard.
But I
candy,
thought of
like
what
a
you were
nice
saying
treat.
is stop world hunger. Let's say you could use it to grow extra body parts for a pig or a cow. You want a double cow with maybe 5 butts or something,
Yeah, although I think aren't they kind of doing that?
Well, they're growing it
Isn't
in
the
a
GMO kind of doing that.
Yeah, they're growing beef in a lab, but they're not growing cows with extra body parts.
Again with
Well,
the
I think
extra
they're doing that
body
with-
parts.
Cow with
chickens,
8
though.
legs or something.
I'm sure there's pornography somewhere about women with extra limbs or extra eyeballs, and Avery is the biggest.
Yeah, hey,
I don't know about
on
that.
that note, I knew a guy from Russia that he would get prostitutes often, and his favorite prostitute had her forearm cut off, so she had this one little nubbin right before her elbow, and she would do pleasurable things to him with that nub. He said it was the best
Okay,
thing
let's
in the
not go
entire
down
world,
that
so.
road.
It's out there, dude. It's out there. Amputee porn, all that stuff.
Well, we'll
Who
leave
would?
that for another time.
I always
I mean,
wondered
to each his own.
What did you
I'm
wonder?
just saying.
when somebody loses a leg or an arm and they have that nub, and then they put like a prosthetic that just puts their entire body weight against the nub. You'd think that would just be excruciatingly painful to get anywhere near that nub.
I don't know. I mean, I would imagine after a while it probably doesn't bother them. But they have, what do they call that? That ghost syndrome when you cut off, when you have
Alien. No, not
Yeah,
alien.
yeah.
No, when you,
That's
like if
something
somebody
else.
had a leg removed or a foot, they still feel like their foot is still there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And then they use like mirrors to trick your brain into seeing it get removed, and then it just goes away forever. It's so cool that they can do that.
Yeah, they do that with people. Even with like, let's say they have both their arms, both their hands. Yeah, they set up like some type of mirror thing or some fake arm, and they'll hit it with a hammer, and the person that they're testing, they will feel it in their body.
That's
just
got to
because
be
they're
hard, though.
Experiencing it.
I had a car that was years ago. It was a Mustang GT, and it was in an accident. And there was a guy who had one of those hook limbs, and he was working on my car. Literally, I mean, he was this handicapped guy, and I came out to get my car. They said, "Your car's done." And I went inside, and there were like all these like, this is true. The guy with the hook cut up the interior of my, not deliberately. And I said, I'm not taking this, because it had marks. It wasn't real bad, but you could see there was damage from him getting in and out of the car. And I did not. I was like, I didn't want to say anything because I was afraid I'd, hurt his feelings. But I was like, you pay good money to get your car.
How long ago was this?
Oh, this was probably like 89 or 90.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure they don't use hooks anymore.
Yeah.
Unless he just liked the hook.
It
was
had like a hook that would move, too. You could open and close it.
It's like essentially his fingerprints, right? Little cut.
Yeah, that's your fingerprints when you have hooks. Yeah, so I don't know. Having an extra finger might come in handy when you're using your cell phone or picking your nose. You can spare a free finger.
What else are you
I
doing
mean,
with your hand while you're
extra
picking your
fingers,
nose?
Maybe
Well,
texting
I
and
guess you
driving
could
will become legal
masturbate.
then, right?
You have a third. You could do two other things while you're jacking off with your third arm.
Productivity, man. It's gonna be the new industrial revolution.
There you go.
Yeah.
Another arm to take care of personal situations while still remaining productive.
You can be like
Endless possibilities.
that Hollywood guy, James Toback. You'll be like that guy. Like, you have your two arms, like, up where people can see him, but they don't know you have a third arm, and you're just masturbating
what
like
if
a
you're
creepo.
or you could be shoplifting with one arm, and while you're like talking to somebody and like waving them around with your hands and. But
Well, yeah, no one else is gonna see it. They're literally not gonna see it coming, because no one's walking around with three arms. They're like, oh, this guy, he's got his two arms going,
And
chopping through. Meanwhile, the arm coming out of your stomach is just grabbing, capris and jean shorts.
Clothes would be hard, though. I mean, where would you do your shopping? You probably have to go to a custom tailor to get your, special three-armed shirts.
Maybe the app.
Three-legged. Maybe the app would you have an app would
Yeah,
sew your clothes
when you
for
download the app, you get a 10% off coupon for your nearest tailor.
Yeah, and
And,
as you design the new body part, it'll also design clothes to go with it.
Or you could
Yeah,
become
and think about all the money that you're going to be saving by shoplifting all the clothes, right?
You can become
you
a
can afford
completely
a
different
tailor.
person if you want. I mean, you could probably, it brings up an interesting thing. Like you could steal someone else's DNA. Like you could be sneaking around behind someone and maybe scratch their arm or something without them knowing it. Or be stealing cups or bottles from McDonald's or something with their DNA on it. Then you could become half someone else.
Okay.
Oh, then you could literally be the guy with the one arm did it, right? What was that?
You'd
What's
literally
that
be the guy
cliche
with the
thing?
one arm. Or
It's like, no, the guy with the three arms did it. I swear to God.
you'd be half of, like, who's an actor or somebody. You could be half, if you want to, like, hey, one night you want to be good in comedy, you're half Chris Rock and half yourself.
Oh yeah, wouldn't that be fun to just transform and look exactly like another comedian, just go up and do their act,
And then the next
and
morning
just
you
feel what
wake
it's like
up.
to just completely kill.
Yeah, I actually thought about doing this as one of my invention ideas for the podcast. They're talking about invisibility cloaks on some science show, and basically what it would be is it'd be almost like a curved monitor, but it would like detect all the light coming in, and it would just broadcast it out on the other side of your body. And if it did that perfectly, it could be like an invisibility cloak.
Yeah, it's like a digital mirror kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, they have them I've seen them for cars where they put little tiny cameras all over the surface of the car. And what like he said, monitors or camera, and it projects the image behind the car. It's got cameras in the back and monitors on the little monitors all over on the front, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but if you could make an invisibility cloak, you could, instead of just broadcasting the image of what's behind you to make you look invisible, you could broadcast the image of another person.
Oh, to be that person.
Yeah, to be that person.
Like wear an invisibility suit.
So
Like a mask and a whole full
basically,
body suit.
the other person would just have to be smaller than you, because everything that's outside of the frame of the other person would be made invisible.
I think there was a movie like that where they
Scanner Darkly.
They
did
other
that?
people. Yeah, there was some movie that was like
Scanner
that.
Darkly with like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, it was
and,
Keanu Reeves was in that. I couldn't watch the whole thing. It was kind of boring and weird.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
And,
Right, they were other people.
Woody Harrelson.
They changed their face.
They
It was
acted
like,
it out and then they animated it.
yeah, it wasn't mirrors and monitors. It was like they would. What did they do? Take a pill or something?
Well, the pill was this. It was this drug that like kind of makes people crazy, and the government was fashioning it to make people crazy, to keep people kind of locked up in a way so they could do what they want. But there were these agents that had these suits they could put on, and the suit could represent. It could become someone else or something.
I didn't think
whatever.
I didn't think it was that good. I mean, the idea is good for a movie, but it wasn't that good a movie.
But my idea
I think
for
it
the
took
cloak
me
is
three
better.
times to watch it to actually get what was going on.
Yeah.
Who knows? I was probably on whatever drug they were talking about. Came out in college. Good times were had.
But anything else with your idea?
No, that's it.
Okay. So I brought an extra idea, which is good because one of our guests canceled. So my idea, I call it happiness coma. Basically, I had always wondered, when you have old people with Alzheimer's in nursing homes, they don't have good memory. So they remember stuff that happened when they were really young, but they don't remember like what happened that earlier that day or the previous day. And I see that. I was thinking, couldn't you take advantage of that to figure out like what movie or what thing would blow their mind, and then just show it to them over and over again, and it would be fresh and new every time. Like, instead of like a normal person, you see a movie, you love the movie. The next time you see it, it's not as good, and it's
Right,
the novelty
fresh,
fades.
sure.
But for them, they forget it, so it would be as mind-blowingly good every time.
So what is this, a drug or a pill? Or
It's just taking advantage of their Alzheimer's.
Okay. So they
they
don't know
they
what the
forget
hell's
it.
going on. You just say, hey, watch this movie. You haven't seen this ever. What?
Yeah, so
Okay.
you could like monitor their brain waves or a tumescence meter on their dick or whatever
Yeah.
to see what they're enjoying, and just show them different things every day, every time they forgot it,
you gonna
and
make
gradually you'll figure out what their kink is, what their big mind-blowing, it doesn't have to be sexual, but their big mind-blowing thing they love is, and then just instead of their last moments of their life being their worst, you could make it their best. Like, why don't people do that?
So if they
It's
really
like
love the
manipulation and taking advantage of for a positive outcome to help people.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. You're going to take a bunch of people who are senile and sick and make them watch the same movie over and over again.
Well, yeah. Like
That's
if they
cruel.
like Die Hard, they really liked it. They had never seen it before. You come up with a movie
No, I
like
know.
Die Hard, or you splice in action movie scenes of a bunch of different movies together, and you figure out what just blows their mind, and then just they'll
Then
forget
you
it and then
find the
show
one
it to them
movie
again.
that they liked, and then you show that to them.
But
over
yeah,
and
like
over again.
why don't people do that? It seems like it would be possible at first. You're gonna say
That
something?
I think that there could be some good scientific research to that, even though the ethical value of it is a little low. But
Why
like,
is it?
what happens to people that like that love something? They love it in that moment, and then you show it to them again, and they've completely forgotten about it. But they're in a different mood that day, so then they
Yeah,
don't
because
like
sometimes elderly
So-
people with Alzheimer's, they're like, one day they'll come in and go, yes, you're my son. I remember you. You are wonderful. And the next day you come in there, what are you doing here? You're
Yeah,
miserable.
right, yeah.
I don't ever want to see you again.
Yeah, I didn't take into account mood swings and
Yeah, because
stuff.
they're kind of like, they
And
kind
the
of
memory
freak out like that.
Yeah, and some of I guess the memory fades in and out. But I'm assuming that it's out enough that they forgot it,
Yeah, they
and
might
that
say,
they're in a.
You showed this damn movie to me 5 times. What's the matter with you, Sonny?
Well, okay,
Yeah,
but
one time they have clarity.
this is just a jumping point off from my idea. So my thought was, well, some form of this you would think they could do, figure out what they like, and show it to them again, and they would enjoy it. But why don't people do that? And my first thought is, well, people don't give a shit about old people, really.
That's true.
Like if you're in a
get-
nursing home or a hospital,
Yeah.
they just give you some tiny TV, put it on Fox News, and just leave you there.
And nobody goes to visits them. Their relatives don't come and say, you haven't been to see me in 5 months.
Or if you're in a hospital, it's a relative was in
Yeah,
a
maybe
hospital.
people have thought about this, and that's why hospice is so awesome. Because it's just like, hey, let's just fill you full of drugs and just sit here and, just drool and nod out into
It's sad when you go in these homes.
into the great unknown.
They always smell, though, like, because, they do have a problem, incontinence and stuff, so they kind of
Yeah.
have that urine
But
scented.
my thought is that showing them something they love is better than drugs because they're actually experiencing something. They're not out of it. They're not. To me,
Yeah,
that's
that's-
living. That's
a valid
living.
I
point.
think we
That's
should
a
give them
valid point.
the shake and shock.
I suppose if they forget it, it's not quite the same as a normal experience of a normal person, but it is. So it's living. It's not being out of it or being unconscious and a lump.
Well, if
or-
we give them
No, that's a valid point. That's
It's a
you're
good idea.
actually
If we give
coming
'em-
out coming from a place of love to try to help.
Now we can give
somebody.
them not only that, but we give them the shake and shock and the CRISPR gene editor, and they can make themselves younger again.
Yeah.
I'm young again.
Yeah. See,
Yippee!
and then we just take all of our ideas and we put them
I'm
together.
getting
and-
erections again.
three
Whoa!
package.
But yeah, so why don't they do this? One thought was, well, that people don't give a shit about old people. My other thought is, well, it might not be possible because even if your conscious memory doesn't remember something like a movie you loved or something, your unconscious memory might remember it in a way. Like, and then the other thing is, I don't know how dopamine works in your brain, but like, I'm assuming that whatever part of your body produces pleasure chemicals, they could get worn out. Like
Yeah.
it could get depleted, and time has to go by before it replenishes. So
Yeah, that's what happens with people that do too much certain kinds of drugs. They deplete all their dopamine, and then they walk around like zombies. They're like, you know.
Yeah, dopamine spikes. You can only produce so much.
Yeah.
And then you keep hitting that happy trigger, and there's nothing there.
There's nothing left. I
And
mean, you're literally burned
that's
out.
how addiction starts.
Yeah.
yeah, so I thought, well,
Yeah, that's a nice idea. That's the most humane thing we've talked about.
I haven't gotten to the actual idea yet. So it might not be possible to reproduce this mind-blowing thing every time, like an Alzheimer patient forgets something, but because of
Well, I mean, just like anything else, there's variations. So you could watch and it's like, oh, well, they love Die Hard when they're in this mood, and when they're, when they're melancholy, they like, this movie. So you can kind of sense their moods and then put in a movie or music or whatever to
Right. I mean,
adapt to that mood.
I've seen movies several times that I really liked, and sometimes if it's a really, really good movie, this is not like I saw like Blade Runner 2049. I went to see that 3 times.
Is it that good?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome, but every time I saw it, there was more stuff in it that I didn't see the other
Those
time.
are the best.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm still trying to get to the idea. So repeating the same experience every time, even if you forget it, it might not be always the same. Unconscious might remember it. Dopamine levels might be low. Same thing with you could enhance the pleasure chemicals with drugs, but even that you run into your body develops a tolerance to the drugs, or you have to pull back to prevent from overdosing or having an unwanted medical effect.
I say just
or
give them
whatever.
some marijuana brownies and you'll be done. You'll be fine.
But
That's the way of the future.
But my idea to get around all of this, well, one more thing. So, for the dopamine thing, if you're, if there's amount of dopamine that can get depleted, you don't want to have pleasant dreams. You want to have shitty dreams that use no dopamine at all.
I think the shitty dreams still use dopamine, though. Isn't it emotion and stuff?
Yeah, you want emotionless dreams.
Yeah, like
Shitty,
dull,
emotionless,
boring
dull dreams. That way, when you're awake and you're remembering shit,
Yeah.
all of your dopamine is available to you.
Are you going to make people dream?
You don't want to piss
dull-
away
can you
all
ma-
of your dopamine in
can
your
you-
dreams
Can
and
you
then
force
forget
someone
about
to
it.
dream like a boring dream? Like they dream they're sitting in a chair, like the whole time, not doing anything, looking at the ceiling.
So this is how we get to my
What-
idea. This is to maximize happiness, not just for old people, and pleasure.
Well,
not
just to be philosophical, can you actually experience true happiness and pleasure without sadness?
Yeah,
What
how would
is
you know
pleasure
you're happy
without
without the
the
sadness, right? You need to have the sadness to know that
Because
you're happy.
To know you're happy. You're like, wow, I'm feeling good, right? This is a happy moment.
eh.
He didn't think so.
I
Like-
think that's overrated.
Tom's like,
I think
screw that.
I think you can mentally, maybe not need sad things to pick up on the contrast.
I think eating some
But
McDonald's French
you can
fries
have
is a
neutral
happy thing.
states and happy states. I mean, you can't be blitzed out happy all the time.
Yeah, and happiness it's all different things. I mean,
But you
some
can contrast
You got-
a
you
happy
gotta have
state
low to
with a
experience
normal
the high,
state.
The yin and the yang.
yin yang, ying. Is it yin and yang or yin and yang?
But anyway, to maximize
I see
the
yin.
highs, my idea, I call it happiness comas.
That's
So-
a good coma.
Basically, what you would do is if you're you're not dreaming, so you're not pissing away your dopamine levels in your dreams.
Why do they call it dopamine, anyways? It sounds like it's something bad, like dopamine.
Well, because they knew it was dopamine, and that's why they call things dope, because it's good.
Okay.
Dopamine and serotonin Or
Yeah.
the two pleasure chemicals.
Yeah, whatever the pleasure chemicals are. Yeah, I'm not an expert in brain science, so my idea, don't rely on it being medically accurate. But so you'd go in the happiness coma, and it would deplete. It would allow your body to get lots of dopamine restored, and also if you were on recreational drugs, it would allow your tolerance to go back down, so that when you experience it, reset. So the next time you experience it, you're experiencing it brand new.
I go into a happiness coma when I have a quarter pounder with cheese, large fry, and a Coca-Cola.
So basically, you would live one day and have the best day of your life, just really happy. Whatever recreational drug you're doing, it's just mind-blowingly good. And then you would go in a coma for however long it takes, a week, depending on what you did, a week,
that, though, the name.
30 days.
I want to go into a happiness coma. That sounds good.
And then it'll wean you back down. So the next time you are conscious, you can do the same thing over again. You don't have to wait. You don't have to feel the waiting for, you don't have to feel the low to get back up to the high.
Yeah, and so you had such a good night. You're up there. Your dopamine's going. You had your recreational drug, and then the next day you find yourself sleeping in. And what do you need to wake up?
You're shock and shake.
Shake and wake, bro.
Shake and wake.
Boom.
And then
Circle, gang.
So there's lots of other side benefits to this. First of all, if they eliminate aging, if science cures aging, why not do this? It's not like you're losing lifespan then. You might as well go in your happiness coma and come out. Who cares if you miss 30 days of shitty Trump news, you know? Just come out when there's something fun to do, you know? When I mean, the other thing is, if you're in your coma, whatever's feeding you can like help you lose weight, so you'll always be thin and healthy.
It reminds me of this
Reduce traffic
story. They would put people into these like comas, and they would play like this, like the live video games in your mind, where you would be like in a coma, but you'd be hooked up to a computer, and you would experience your life all in the computer, and you wouldn't know it's not real. And so if you would, I mean, this is the story. These stories have been done. So if you would die in your like fake dream, you literally you could die, because if you would think it's real.
Yeah, I've seen movies like that.
Yeah, a lot of
Oh
them.
boy.
But
was it an Inception thing?
There's a lot of them, but yeah, that's similar to that. Yeah, but it's not a video game in Inception where they played. I think where they play a game inside their heads. They're all hooked up. They're all part of the same video game.
That's crazy. I didn't hear that one. Were they in a video game in the beach, or were they just wigged out by that point? Remember the beach?
Oh, in the Inception? I don't remember. No, I don't think they were in a video game.
Either way. Well, Tom, I like the idea. You got any more facets to it?
I have a related idea. There's an expression that variety is the spice of life. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And that's why I hate working a 9 to 5 in an office.
Yeah,
and why I long to be like a comedian who can like travel and
try different things,
sleep in, do what I want, you know. But scientists haven't really quantified how to create variety to maximize the spice of life in a way. So like, let's say there is a service that I heard about, which I thought was awesome, which I thought if I was rich, I would do this. This is for rich people. They give you a bunch of surveys on like what your interests are. And what they do is they plan out vacations with down to every event you do, and they don't tell you about it. So they tell you, okay, get on this plane, go to this hotel, go to this, and they guide you around, and it's always a surprise.
Well, that reminds me of this movie, and there's another one coming out. And in the movie, the guy was really bored, and he paid somebody paid for him because he knew he was bored with his life, and he paid this service. And what they did is they like do stuff to you, and things happen to you that you're not expected, and you get involved maybe in some fake robbery and all this weird shit happens to you throughout the day. You don't know what's going on. It all looks real.
Like Michael Douglas. The game.
It was with Michael Douglas, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That would be cool, though. If there really was something like that, right?
But this is more just, it's not like fake bank robberies, and it's not
fake murders.
It's more of a vacation, pleasant, like tame thing.
Well, he didn't know it was fake throughout some of it ended up being real, right?
But so my idea basically to use brain science along with this service, like this service that's picking like fun things for you to do, they're probably not taking into account like how long it takes you to replenish cortisol and dopamine levels or whatever. But if you use brain science with that, like you could organize events like I would imagine like horror, like a roller coaster, maybe doesn't need as much dopamine, but maybe it's adrenaline. So you would pick that in one of your recovery days of dopamine because you don't need as much dopamine to maximize your pleasure from that activity. But so basically you would arrange the order of activities to correspond with what your brain chemicals would be at that time in order to maximize.
I think we need to do a study on this. We've got to hook somebody up to hook their brains up and find out when you'd have to follow them around all day and hook their brain up to a machine to see like what their dopamine levels are when they're doing whenever they're doing something, so you would know.
Well, like a replenishment, or let's say when you go to sleep and you enter, whatever this state is. So during your 8 hours of sleeping, you're working on your body. So your dreams, because your brain is actualizing your dream. If you're working out in your dream, you're actually getting tone. You're burning calories. You can sit in a sauna and get a nice schwitz and detox out. Right, and you're doing all that while you're getting your 8 hours of sleep.
I don't know. I have dreams working out, and I don't feel any thinner when I wake up. But that would be cool, though, if you did. Like you could lose weight in your dream.
Yeah, I did have
you do all the healthy things that you don't want to do while you're walking around conscious.
Like eat,
drink, you can do it in a dream state, and your brain is recognizing it as real.
Yeah, it's like the Matrix.
Well, the happiness coma wouldn't give you exercise, but it would help you lose weight.
So you could
but exercise creates happiness.
Exercise gives you those endorphins, right?
I think that's bullshit. I don't think exercise creates happiness.
Well, it doesn't, not really, but you do feel a little better if you work out. You feel a little bit of a high. It's very minor. It's not like, but you feel somewhat better.
I think it's doctors sometimes lie to you, and they first of all, they tell you everything conflicts with alcohol, and then they tell you that exercise provides happiness. I think they're just trying to lie to get you to do healthier things.
It's not like I'm going to go for a jog and get high. Woohoo! Man, I'm really tripping out after that jog.
But anyway, so basically with this variety thing, so you would have it wouldn't have to be a surprise, but it would be a service to schedule a vacation or even just weekend plans, daily plans, so that the order of the activities makes sense based on what your brain chemicals would be. And then the other thing is,
maybe they have they should have a place where you can go and fill up on dopamine, and or some just if you're running low, you just drink
it. They
it.
do. It's called the trap house. You go there and you get all your drugs, and then you blast your dopamine off.
So the other thing that ruins happiness, I think, is routine. And they've
There's
shown
what? Poutine?
routine, like doing the
Oh,
same
routine.
thing over and over,
Sadness ruins
okay.
happiness.
or having like you don't want to have like
Pain.
game night every Tuesday, like and like
I think
roller
it
coaster
becomes
night every
mundane.
Wednesday. You have to make it intermittent.
I think pain is a big killer to happiness, really. I mean, if you're in a lot of pain,
Well, obviously,
then they got to get rid of pain. We should all have no pain. Painless lives.
like casinos and like video games, they've studied, and you have to. It can't be deterministic. Like you do this always happens. It has to be varied. Like there has to be.
Well, yeah, variety is the spice of life, right?
Yeah, but
You got to mix it up.
varied reward to the same effort. Otherwise, people get bored. So my headphone is a little fuzzy for some reason.
Mine got fuzzy too.
But
I
yeah,
went
so
deaf in my
Don't
right
mention
ear
it.
all of a sudden.
okay.
Mine's perfect.
Too late now. But so like a brain science
I think I've got too
variety
much
vacation
dopamine.
thing that it would take into account brain science of chemicals and brain science of how variety and intermittent reward to maximize the quality of vacations.
I guess that's called drugs.
Yeah, but we're out of time. That was Creativity Wasted. Thanks, Bruce, for calling in. Thanks for
Hey,
coming,
fellas, thanks for
Avery.
having me. I had a
All
blast.
right.
This is a good talk. You're gonna have
Good
me thinking all night.
times.
You
Yeah.
depleted all my dopamine with this fun.
We're all dopamine out.
Anyway, guys.
Yeah, have a
hey,
good one,
thanks
man.
a lot.
Nice.
Anyway, Bruce Pints from out there doing stand-up all over southeastern Michigan. Yep, southeastern. That's
Okay.
where I'm at. Anyway, thanks for having me on, guys.
All
Peace
right.
and love. Everyone have a great night.